Yes, a very high chair. Okay. Nice to see you all. I am not conducting my own interview, don't worry. There is someone else coming out. Hi. I'm Kara. This is Kara.
Yes, hi. I interview celebs. This is what I do with Jodie. I have a show. It's called Really Famous. It's a podcast. As you guys may know, podcasts are now on video all over YouTube. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about Jodie. We're here for Jodie. Hi.
Hi. I love this pink and green. It's very cute.
Thank you. I try to coordinate a little bit with the pink behind me.
I like it.
You know,
I like
you have to plan it well. So I have a lot of questions for you.
Let's get started.
A lot
Go for
of
it.
fan questions as well.
Amazing.
Okay,
I get some of the best fan questions. Really come up with some creative stuff.
Okay, so the first one is, like, you may have been asked before, but tell me about your childhood. Who raised you? What was it like?
Technically, my parents raised me, but also my pseudo Full House family also raised me. And I would say probably Bob and Dave had a huge impact on my sense of humor, much to my mom's disappointment. No, I grew up in this weird sort of hybrid existence of like normal life. I grew up in Orange County. I went to public school, and then I would go in the afternoons and go work and do TV. And I never watched the show. I never was like, oh, this is a big deal. I just thought it was what I did. And
it was normal for you.
It was just normal for me, and it's what I love to do. It's what I still love to do. I always say, I came from a really small family. I was an only child. My parents. So I got this like extra family and sort of faux siblings. And so when I would be like, oh, I wish I had a sibling, then I had pretend ones, and then I didn't wish that anymore. So, and I loved performing, I loved singing, dancing. I told my mom that I wanted to be a modeler, which was what I called actors on TV. And they saw that I loved performing. My parents had zero connection to anyone or anything in the entertainment industry. My dad worked down in Long Beach Harbor at a gypsum plant down there, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and they thought it would just be something fun to do, some print ads, and she likes performing, and that's okay, sure, she can have some fun, do a couple commercials, put away a little money, and then now, 39 years later, I'm still here. It was definitely,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
No easy feat.
Thank you. No, it was just something that I loved to do. I never cared about like being famous or, I was very fortunate that I was on a really successful show, but even to this day, that's not why I do any of this. I do it because I love it. Every aspect of it, directing, writing, producing, comedy, drama, all of it. I love it. It's what I love to do, and I'm really fortunate that I get to keep doing it.
Yeah, so would you option for you, or would you go back and do something differently, or do you like it that much that this is definitely what you would choose?
You mean, so I had a normal job, actually. At one point in my life, I had kind of walked away from working in entertainment. I had 2 kids, I had bills, and I had decided that, I didn't want to keep going out and auditioning at a time when I just needed a job. And so
this was after Full House?
This was like 10 years ago, right before I started Fuller. And I worked in drug and alcohol treatment. I started, bottom emptying trash cans and washing dishes, and I was fine with it. I loved it. I worked my way up to director of operations at some point, but I found kind of a whole new skill set of things that I really enjoyed doing. And I always think if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be back in school doing some sort of psychology, sociology, something. I find humans really interesting and fascinating, and I love being around them and working with them, whether it's helping them in real life or portraying them on a screen. I think we're interesting little creatures with lots of good stories.
I 100% agree. And did you know I'm also a therapist?
Oh my gosh, that's why I felt so comfortable.
Yes. So yes, I think we see it in each other too, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's common also for actors to be really fascinated by the psychology of humans. Like,
absolutely.
The entire world runs on human psychology. That's what I think, at least. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it does. And it's a really interesting sort of combination of things. And when I worked in treatment, I was really fortunate, and I always felt really lucky that I have found something else that I really love to do. So I'm fortunate that I also try and really stick to the idea of bloom where you're planted, which is you might not be planted in the best dirt or in the most optimal place to get the most sunshine, but you can bloom wherever you're planted in whatever way you can. So I just really try and be present, enjoy life, have fun, whether I'm on stage or working with clients. Like I just try and have fun no matter what you do. Life is short. There's no
It is. What do you guys think about that philosophy? I really like it. It's a healthy one, right? Stand the test of time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ironically, I was actually really close to Bob because he had 2 daughters that were around my age. His oldest was my age, and then his middle one was a couple years younger than me. And so I would go to his house on the weekends, like after a tape night. I'd go home with him and the kids, and I'd spend the night there, and him and his wife Sherry would make us blueberry pancakes in the morning, and we'd sit and watch cartoons. And I got my first bicycle from Jeff Franklin that created the show. All of these like first childhood memories are so intertwined with my job. It didn't feel like a job.
Yeah. So was it a hard transition when it ended?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I was 13, which is just a rough. Again, that middle school, early high school, just a rough time anyway of like, who am I? And going from, that was all I ever knew. I mean, I never went to school without also working. So that was just my routine. That was my childhood. That was my family. That was what I did. I knew the crew. I knew everybody. And then all of a sudden, we only had 2 weeks before we found out that we were canceled. There had been talks that it was going to get picked up by the WB network, which is now the CW or whatever, but it was talks that we were going to go to 1 or 2 different places, and then like a week and a half before we were set to wrap, they said, no, this is it. So we didn't have like a huge time to prepare to say goodbye, but no, it was a huge adjustment, and part of me was really like happy to just kind of be a quote unquote normal kid and like go to school all day. And then the other part of me was like, well, what am I supposed to be now? And I think it took me a while to answer that question. But yeah, it was a hard adjustment for sure.
And you're probably still answering it because you're evolving, right? In life, you're going to keep wondering, who am I? What am I? What I want? The silly thing that people always say, the older I get, the less I know. And it really is true, though, just because you come across so many things and you're like, I just don't even know anymore. Everything I thought I knew, right out the window. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to Full House for a second. Did you take anything from the set to keep?
I did take several things from the set to keep. One I have from the original show, I have the original Mr. Bear, the OG. He sits in my office in my little director's chair that I got when I directed an episode of Fuller House. So it's kind of a fun little moment. But at the end of Fuller House, there was this like cross-stitched thing that was in the kitchen that hung on the wall that said, "Love is all we need." And I just always loved it, and it was in the background of so many shots in the kitchen that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take that. So I took that, and then, does anybody remember the weird little like CPAPy thing at the base of the stairs, that little statue that was holding the weird thing? Yeah. I took his head, and I almost got in trouble for it because we weren't supposed to be taking things from the set, and let me tell you, it was a free-for-all. And everyone was like, I'm taking a mug, I'm taking this, So I was like, well, I'm taking the head. Because we had to do an episode where they had to make it out of styrofoam because the kids accidentally, knocked the head off or whatever. So it was still just a styrofoam head, wooden body, but styrofoam head. And I was like, I'm gonna take it. So I just took the head right off of it because it was detached. And I took it up to my room, and as I was leaving for the night, I had all my stuff. And one of the producers came running after me and was like, wait, do you have the head? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. They were like, you can't take that. And I was like, I don't have it. But no, I had to give it back that night because they had to like log it back in with all of the stuff that they get from the prop houses and things. But then a couple weeks later, my doorbell rang and I opened it and there was just the head sitting on my front mat that someone from the production office had left. And normally that would be a really ominous thing to open the door to,
Right.
but I was really excited, so yeah.
Good for you, yes to
But
that.
luckily I was expecting it, because if I wasn't, that might have been creepy.
I love it. So when they told you they were thinking about doing a reboot and Fuller House came onto the scene, did you think it would be a good idea?
Oh yeah, we were involved in it from the beginning. We were involved in all the pitches. We were creating our characters, years before anything came of it. I think around 2013 maybe was when we started pitching. 2012, 2013 was when we started pitching Fuller House, and then 2015 is when it actually happened. But no, we all thought it was an excellent idea because we have seen how many amazing loyal fans there are for Full House, and we were like, they would totally watch what has happened next. They would love it. And most of the networks we took it to were like, no, we don't think so. We don't think they would. And randomly we pitched a show to, I think it was ABC Family or Nickelodeon, and they passed, but one of the execs, Brian Wright, left Nickelodeon and a few months later moved over to Netflix and told Netflix, he said, I know you guys are trying to build kind of your family department. He's like, I think I have something that we could use to anchor it. And it was from that we got, again, like, you never know what to... And the Nickelodeon pitch was awful. I couldn't make it because I was working my regular job and couldn't get off. Candace wasn't there. Andrea went to the wrong building because they moved. Like, it was like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, except for the fact that one person in that room saw potential. So
that's all it takes, one person. Yeah, for everything, for anything. Just remember that always in the darkest hour, it's one person who can pull you out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that ended, and how did that feel? Do you feel like that was that, or is there maybe another one down the road?
I mean, who knows? I think the hard thing will always be now, without Bob, who was kind of our, head of the family, our glue in a lot of ways, both on screen and off. I don't know if it would be the same, but I will never say never. I am more than happy to, swan about in a caftan eating cheesecake on the lanai, being my little best Golden Girl / Fuller House self. But, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see.
Any word from Mary Kate and Ashley?
The last time we saw them was when Bob had passed, and it was the first time I think that all of us. I mean, we'd seen each other sort of separately because they had moved to. One moved, had been in Paris for a while, and then they were both in New York for a while. So we'd kind of see them, but not in a whole group like that. So that was actually, the one thing, and we all said like, oh, if only Bob was here to see it.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so after all that, or in between, there have been a lot of things that you have done.